Oh, what up, guys? Pretty sure the stream should be all good. It's been a minute. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. Gonna be a quick stream, just to touch base with everybody. What's up, everybody? Yeah, there it is. So yeah, what's going on, everybody? Pretty funny thumbnail. I just made that real quick on my phone. So yeah, the reason I know I was gonna go start doing real frequent streams, and then the reason I haven't, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, like being able to see a lot of this stuff and then call it before it happens. It almost makes me uncomfortable, like calling these things that I don't really want to happen. It just like makes me feel weird. But nevertheless, I guess there's kind of a responsibility to do it. So enough about me. We'll just get into some gravy. Thanks everybody for being here. What's up? What's up? What's up? All right. So as we all know, this is where I'll go if I get kicked off. D-Live, WitsitGetsIt. Haven't gone live on there yet. I may start restreaming. I've been thinking about it. I don't really do things because other people want me to do them, or it's the most efficient way to grow your channel. Like, the most efficient way to grow your channel is to not be a member of Glowbusters before you start, and then your very first video you talk about how the earth is flat constantly from there on out, and then talk about every single spell that gets you shadow banned or kicked off and censored. That's actually how you grow your channel. So that's obviously not my intention. So I'll go there need be. We're going to push YouTube to the limits in the coming weeks, and we will indeed see what happens. There's a link in the description to the D-Live, or maybe there's not. I don't know. If there's not, I'll update it. Here, I'll just throw it in the chat, whatever. So yeah, D-Live is pretty cool because they don't really censor people. Owen Benjamin, if someone doesn't know who that is somehow, he slays wizards at like an astronomical rate. And he doesn't hold back from saying anything, and he gets heavily censored. Really got a target on his back because he was a prominent figure. So wherever he goes in Ladle's Gravy is kind of a litmus test or a testament to that platform. That's why, of course, I've selected this as my backup, because Owen's still allowed to go there. You can't do the, like close the app, minimize the app, and keep playing with D-Live. And if you don't have the best bandwidth, it's not the greatest, but they allow that man to say whatever he wants to say. So small price to pay. And I'll go there need be. I'm not going to revolt and get off of YouTube until they kick me off. We're going to make them. We're going to make them make up their minds. So enough of that. D-Live. Go ahead and follow me if you want to keep up with my content, because that's where I'll just naturally go if something happens. And I'm working out a whole bunch of ideas of how I'm going to start doing content. So y'all be patient. It'll be worth the wait. Yeah, and then, of course, I told you guys this was coming. I called it the Internet Bill of Rights. I haven't done a stream since, I guess, I called it and it happened, but executive order on preventing online censorship. Free speech is the bedrock of American democracy. Basically, social media doesn't have the right to censor you. We all know this. If you're going to have a platform and then censor people, you have to adhere to publishing laws. If you selectively censor people based on a predisposition or whatever you feel, that's called publishing, right? You have to adhere to publishing laws, which then means you're legally liable for anything on your platform. Of course, Twitter, IG, Facebook, whatever Grabbler social media app there is, they could never do that. People say anything off the wall. They can never stand behind everything legally. So they've been operating in this gray zone where they can get the benefits of being a publisher, being able to selectively choose who speaks, but operating in the public square as a public platform without having that legal liability. And they've been using the legislation, the Bill 203, to do that, which was originally drafted with the idea of, this is, of course, what they're going to say, like, we all know anything that comes through those government doors, there's a malevolent intent almost every time. But to take down child trafficking and child pornography, it gave these platforms that ability. They've abused it underneath that law, censoring everybody. Told you this was coming. Trump's the hero, casting the play as a hero. So there you go. Yeah. I see Did said YouTube wants 16 a month to play in the background. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But actually, if you don't have an iPhone, you can surpass that. I think, allegedly. Yeah, anyway, so I'm going to show this at the beginning of every one of my streams. So there's now an executive order, although 203 is still in place. There you go. And I'm pretty sure that these platforms are publicly traded. For all those that want to run, they're a private company. You agreed to it. No, dude, the whole world talks on these things. They shouldn't be allowed to censor us, period. All right. Now, I recently started making memes. I've only made a few, but I've never really made memes like ever. Downloaded an app, started making memes. Here are a few of them. We can't burn down our own cities. That's playing into their hand. Them. So you're racist. And that's my look for you complete and total losers. This was a while back, and then I made this one. This is called a spell. Of course, as they prevent themselves from breathing and adequately taking in oxygen, resulting in hypoxia, they hold a sign called "I can't breathe," when in their mind it's actually not related to the fact that they literally can't breathe. So it's a textbook spell, obviously. Made this one. The theory of relativity is a reification fallacy that attributes physical properties to conceptual abstractions and a privation. People are like, oh, it's just a theory. Yeah, well, I'm challenging the very postulation of the theory itself, right? Like on its face, it is null and void because it is a reification fallacy. It attributes physical properties to conceptual abstractions known as space and time, both human constructs and abstractions, and a privation, which one of the conceptual abstractions represents a privation being space. So a lot of people complaining about how I worded it. If you actually knew how much of a punch that meme truly packs in intellectual form, then maybe you'd understand the purpose of me making it. And again, I do not do anything, whether that be my streams, the way I make memes, what I share, what I say, what I think, based on literally any other human being. So y'all can just go ahead and save it because I don't care. I don't care what anyone thinks. So yeah, time. I don't know. I'm not going to go real deep in this. Look, man, time's just a human construct, okay? There's passing. We have a clock above us, right? There's the sun, and then there's the moon, and there's the night cycle, day cycle. There's seasons, and it resets. Yes, time passes, but that's all it is passing, okay? Humans made a human construct that we call time, in which we quantify that passing, or at least attempt to, within the confinements of our human construct of quantification, right? It's actually really simple. Time in and of itself is nothing. It's a human construct we use to quantify or to measure the amount of magnitude between 2 points. Okay, that's what time is. It's a human construct. Space is also a human construct. It's the idea of the area between anything material. So it's a concept of privation, or nothingness is an example of privation. Shadow is an example of privation. Nothing in and of itself is the absence of light. Space is the absence of anything, i.e. nothing. Stupid people, because they think out of arrogance of their consensus, they'll say stuff like, oh, no, space isn't empty. It's like, yeah, whatever's in space isn't space. It's whatever else there is besides what's in it. It's all the emptiness and the nothingness that is space, literally. Okay, now we got that covered. Anyway, theory of relativity. You can't give concrete value to abstractions. That's called a reification fallacy. And I think... another one, yeah. When people still think the Civil War was fought over slavery. I made this one because I think it's hysterical. So we'll get back into that one and that one, which is why I'm showing them to you. Okay, moving on. So I wanted to break this down briefly. Like I said, I'm going to keep this as a brief stream. I'm going to do more pointed streams per subject. And then towards the end, I'm going to lay out a few things I'm thinking about, and I want y'all to give me some feedback in the comments of how you think I should do it or whatever, and then I'll just do it whatever the majority thinks. Because this is not just mob rule, right? Majority of base people that are actually here and persistent enough to see my streams. and not triggered so much that they have to leave and spiral and send me emails. Okay, so briefly, they shut down the world on cue over some pandemic. And it's not even the flu. And if you haven't ever checked out the legend that is Dr. Kaufman, go listen to him. He was briefly on Globebusters. Go listen to any of his work. He ladles the gravy, tells you straight up, biology is pseudoscience, so our current connotation of the way that viruses work anyway is stupid. But nevertheless, even under their little fairy tale pseudoscientific connotation and confinement, it's not as bad as the flu. We all knew this the whole time. But anyway, basically the point being, this attacked your respiratory system, and it made it hard to breathe. Okay, now we look at this. What does COVID-19 do to your lungs? Blah, 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 blah. It's not good for your lungs. It makes it hard to breathe. There's a plethora of breathing issues that could result or could be a result of COVID-19. Okay, that's pretty interesting. That's what's up. Now we have people packed in all major cities saying, I can't breathe, while they wear masks. Okay, shut down the world. Shut down the world. I'm sorry if my tone is whatever. Like, I think people, there's no way y'all don't already know this, right? But like, I'm just going to break it down. Think like a grabbler, or step outside and just understand that this is metaphysical rituals. Understand this is much deeper than what's on the surface if you're new to the channel. Shut down the world. No one can breathe. Oh, this respiratory illness is making everyone short of breath. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put them on a respiratory system. It's actually going to put pressure on their lungs and kill them, even though they have oxygen deprivation. Okay, so the world all shut down, a whole ordeal with breathing properly. Now the world is full of people crammed in streets wearing masks with signs that say I can't breathe. While they say I can't breathe, a completely non-related idea. Non-related, right? So the dude suffocated to death because the cop, he said I couldn't breathe. The cop kept going. Just like the other case in New York where the guy was selling singles and he couldn't breathe, Eric Gardner. Okay. Probably just a coincidence that they shut down the whole world over an illness that was blown out of proportion and purely pseudoscientific. It's about attacking your respiratory system, causing shortness of breath and an issue with breathing. And now we have riots and protests everywhere about I can't breathe with masks on. Okay, now we're going to fast forward. This is the real gravy, so just take it in. I'll link all these in the description. So a lot of you may have already seen this. This is one of a plethora of documents, but Federal Communications Commission, so FCC.gov. This was from 97. You see 30 to 300 gigahertz, which is what 5G operates on. They tested these frequencies. And many of you, again, know this, but if you come down here, look at the dotted line is oxygen absorption. Okay, now if you go to, look we got 18, 30, 40, 24, 50, 80, 100 gigahertz. They're all down here. 60 gigahertz towers the rest in oxygen absorption. Okay, so this has been known for a long time. For anyone that doesn't know, it has a 98% oxygen absorption rate at 60 gigahertz. The millimeter wavelength at 60 gigahertz, which is one of the potential resonances of what 5G operates on, results in a 98% oxygen absorption rate. That does not mean it sucks up 98% of the oxygen. Everyone just dies because they can't breathe. It actually is absorbed by the oxygen. The oxygen absorbs the radiation. So 98% of oxygen molecules will absorb the radiation, right? The RF signal from a 60 gigahertz propagation. 98% of the oxygen. And what it does is it messes up the energy field of the oxygen molecule. It spins it and it makes it to where it inhibits your hemoglobin from absorbing the oxygen molecule adequately. So it could result in serious oxygen deprivation because of what happens to the oxygen molecule once absorbed. Now, this is what 5G operates on. This potential gigahertz, 60, is the dangerous one, and it would result in major oxygen deprivation. And they're saying there's going to be a second wave. And they're rolling 5G out everywhere that it's not already everywhere, and it's already in all the big cities, which is where everybody's getting sick. So think about this from a macro pattern recognition perspective in which you slay wizards, right? Very simply, they're predictively programming you, socially engineering you, and brazenly telling you their plan involves shortness of breath, oxygen deprivation. Very simple. You have to, none of this is random. They're not just like, oh, let's just get the race war going now. They get what they get with the race war, but that isn't why they did the race war, right? Like, you have to understand. Yeah, they're I'm about to go into what the whole race war is really accomplishing. Okay, this is all so much deeper than the physical surface every time. If you know that and you always step back, you will be much more efficient when it comes to assessing information, which is why when I started this channel, I said unplug from the box. Step back so you can see what all is going in the box. That's the only way you'll be able to adequately figure this stuff out. Not like, oh, these crazy Dems and Republicans, all this other nonsense. See what the grabblers see. They're crafting all of this for very particular reasons. During the propagation of racism and this crazy stuff, they're checking boxes off, okay? They are, indeed, and we'll get into that. But they didn't. That is not why. This is them straight up telling you through repetitive psyops right in your face that in the future, they plan on doing something that will affect how you breathe. They're telling you that. Okay, so shut down the world, shortness of breath, a respiratory illness that's unsubstantiated, wear your mask to protect you from this illness, even though that will result in hypoxia and oxygen deprivation. Oh, tons of protests, people wearing masks saying, I can't breathe. Oh, second wave, 5G, 98% oxygen absorption rate. I'm not saying I know what's going to happen. I'm saying they are clearly predictively programming you to subconsciously accept that there's this new normal of people not being able to breathe. Okay, and they get a metaphysical, benefit to basically the vibration in which you emit when you believe this nonsense and when you're scared of all of this. So don't be scared of everything I'm trying to tell you, but because that's what they want. So very simply, COVID-19, lungs, oh, can't breathe, wearing masks, oh, 5G, getting rolled out everywhere, 98% oxygen absorption. Okay, moving on. This right here just happened a couple hours ago. One of the cops got out on bond, $750,000, so he paid $75,000 to get out, I would assume. And yeah, so this is going to make some people freak out. This is not the main guy, but they're just adding fuel to the fire. This is a script that was written a long time ago, and they have it set out incrementally so that they can add fuel to the fire, watch it go up, start to come back down, add more fuel. It's segments that were pre-selected. Anyway, just in case anyone didn't know, this cop gets out on bond and everyone's going to freak out about it. Walmart will stop putting multicultural products in locked cases. Okay, so basically saying products they think that the Black community would use, they typically were locked up, but they're going to stop unlocking them. You just lock up your precious materials, dude. So Walmart's just going to unlock the cases now because they don't want to be racist. Of course, we know Walmart, government, tomato, tomato. You should know that. Okay, yeah, department, DHS is Walmart. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to stop putting multicultural products in locked cases, and there's nothing to worry about, like just incentivizing crime, but it's all good because we'll get rid of the police. Yeah, and I'm sure this is old news too. You all know that Minneapolis to disband the police department. So pretty interesting. It doesn't know my take really briefly. There are tons of corrupt cops that abuse their power with a little pentagram star on there. I unequivocally speak my mind. I'm not going to cater to the boomer Republicans that probably I align with more ideologically. but I'm not going to cater my content to where those boomer Republicans feel comfortable. No, not all cops are good. No, we shouldn't just leave the current system with the way police operate the way that it is. Period. It doesn't matter what you think, actually. It literally doesn't, because they don't get held accountable. Okay? And I've lived it, and many of these people in the streets have lived it. Many of the people talking haven't lived it, and so you have to understand their frustration. Their frustration is being guided via misrepresentation, so they don't adequately get any thorough, articulate demands presented at the forefront of their movement. That's the real issue. I do not condone all the nonsense coming out of the movement. I don't condone what they're doing. None of that. No. Cops that wear pentagram badges and have an IQ cut off and then abuse their authority, turning off their webcam, jumping people, and then their friends jumping in, and they're sitting back laughing, and then falsifying reports and not getting in trouble for any of that, which happens on a regular basis, is not good. There should be actual legislative reformation to hold cops more accountable. People should be scared to be a cop almost, because you have to be held to such a high standard. And all these cops are like, oh, every cop, 99% of cops are good. Like, okay, how many cops have you turned in for falsifying a report? Crickets. Yeah, none of them turn each other in. It's a brotherhood. So you're a bad cop if you watch someone else abuse another American's rights underneath the guise of his pentagram and then beat him up and falsify a report. That's the issue we have. We want more translucents. The body cam should be live streamed after 10 minutes, but they'll never do that. They'll say it'll jeopardize investigation, blah, blah, blah. They'll never do it. We need demands like that. All right, I'm not going to go on my cops bill. You get it? I'm not like pro-cop. I'm actually don't really like them. I don't think I need them. I'll take care of myself. But they are needed in society. A lot of them are good intended. I know some personally that are. Certainly more base people here in Tennessee. They're not going to enforce any of this nonsense. In the bigger cities, I don't know. It probably is worse. But it's in the middle. Cops do abuse their authority, and they basically are typically allowed to do so without being held accountable. And we actually do need cops. So that's the truth. I'll come chat with you. I'm almost done. I'm trying to get through this because I don't want to go too long. I got to do something. We don't need to remove cops, just so everyone understands. That's what they want you to do. Militarization will be the replacement. Or just chaos until you burn yourself down. And if anyone doesn't know who Owen is, or, Owen's been saying it for a long time. We've all been trying to tell you for a long time, like, get out of the big cities. You should probably get out of the big cities. Like right now, like yesterday. Like just get out. Just get out of the big city. Just do what you got to do to get out of a really big city. Okay, or at the least, you need to have easily accessible rural areas that you can get to around your city. Just do it. Just do it. It's really not complicated. I'm going to keep putting it off, and I'm going to do it. Do people forget the last people to get rid of their local police forces and bring in brown shirts? Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not for removing the police. And this is similar to the propaganda of the Nazi regime. All right, so yeah, anyway. Now, this is where the gravy gets pretty interesting, so hopefully y'all follow me. As we know, they're tearing down all kinds of statues, Confederate statues, right? Okay. And, I know America's a corporation. All the founding fathers were Masons, and they were openly Masons. And, why is Albert Pike got the only statue outside in Washington, D.C., openly a Mason? He knew the earth was a plane, by the way, just in case you didn't. And just a crazy person, right? Like, wanted to orchestrate wars. And America's a corporation, and you're intentionally put on bond paper on your birth certificate in all caps because you're a corporate entity. So I do not advocate for all these people in the history books when Victor's the author and the Grabblers own the two publishing companies that give all the curriculum to everybody and then they write what you want. But nevertheless, we shouldn't just destroy it purely based on the sentiments associated with our historical importance. People are being guided. So here's where I want you to follow me. Okay, so Confederate statues being torn down. The Marine orders Confederate paraphernalia to be removed from all bases. So our very military is now removing the Confederate flag. The U.S. Navy to ban all public displays of the Confederate flag. The Navy's doing it now. And NASCAR is officially out of business because NASCAR bans the Confederate flags at racetracks. And of course, we know that is probably going to piss off 99% of their base, but the world is actually a stage clown world. Who even knows what's going on anymore? I'm starting to think that these sports programs weren't even actually crafted to make money at all. They probably lose a ton somehow. I don't know. Like, this is actually a clown world. Okay, so obviously this is just now beginning. Confederate flags will no longer be a thing in the U.S. They'll be outlawed. They'll be banned. Now, why? This comes full circle back to this one. When people still think the Civil War was fought over slavery. This is the guise in which the Confederate flag will be demonized and removed. So I'm going to go full screen here. All right. I'm going to give you all my take. And maybe we should just keep this up. Anyway, who cares? All right, look. So they're going to remove the Confederate flag and demonize it and basically wipe our recollection of American history out. But why? Okay, this is the truth. The South, they wanted sovereignty of state. Okay, that means they wanted each state to make their own decisions. They didn't want some federal entity to make decisions for them. Period. That was the actual issue. The North wanted to consolidate power via federalization. The South didn't want to. Did they disagree on slavery? Sort of. There were slaves in the North longer. It just, their economy wasn't as dependent on that, like agricultural, production, which requires manual labor. And the South had created a crux, basically, of manual labor via slave labor. So somewhat of an economic attack, and the South was like, no. But probably a misrepresentation that everyone was cool with slavery anyway. They weren't. It doesn't matter where you're looking at. The point is, this is the macro, and that's all the grabblers care about, in case you haven't put that together yet. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about us enslaving each other or anything like that. That's when the Union took over. That's when there became a federal government, and that is the only way that you could have convinced the people at the time to go back to a centralized power right after they had been convinced under the illusion that they had just broke away from a centralized power. Okay, so you did under the guise of slavery. Most people probably didn't like slavery. It's not like every person in the South owned slaves. That isn't how it happened at all. Not at all. You had to be wealthy and have land and own slaves. Okay, so a lot of people didn't even like it. A lot of people didn't partake in it. Those Confederate soldiers, they were fighting for their sovereignty. They're like, we don't want to be a part of a centralized, federalized power. We just came from that, even though that's just what they think, right? So that's the real issue here. This was when the centralized, federalized government was able to take over all the states as a whole and have a say that supersedes state sovereignty. And they fought against it. And that's technically what the Confederate flag represents. It did not represent slavery. I mean, it didn't. It's stupid. It's like it takes just a little bit of non-biased research and just a little bit of pattern recognition to understand what was accomplished with the Civil War was federalization. That is, I hope you understand where I'm going with this. That is why they're demonizing the Confederate flag and breaking down all the statues. It is wizardry. It's a metaphysical act. It's an occultic, esoteric, grabbler sign of communication and basically a flex of power. They're like, we took away your sovereignty once. You think that was bad. Once we coax you into the new infrastructure that you will demand for eventually, you will lose the sovereignty you have now. That is what they're doing. They're making the people themselves enslave themselves. Okay, so who's out there destroying the statues? Americans. Who's out there saying that the Confederate flag should be banned? Americans and American entities, American corporations, American military. Okay, so it is a metaphysical spell to let you know that they are trying to push you towards ultimate centralization, ultimate federalization, and the removal of individual sustainability and sovereignty. And I don't know how many times you people have to sit here and watch spell after spell after spell after spell before you realize maybe I should view these things like, what if this was a spell? So there you go. There's my take. I just wanted to do a real brief live, like I'll recap it real fast. I'll talk to y'all for a second. And then I'll ask y'all what y'all think about how I'll start doing this out from here on out, and we'll work together. I'm getting on a few things, trying to make the quality better, and then, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, let's see. We'll just go back over it real fast, and then I'll talk to y'all. So yeah, that's where I'll go if they kick me off. The Grabblers, D-Live, WitsitGetsIt. This executive order, I predicted it before, no big deal. But I told you the Internet Bill of Rights was coming. This is just the beginning. 230 will be revoked. There will be an Internet Bill of Rights implemented where you're allowed to say whatever you want to as long as you don't invoke violence. So yeah, try to tell you about that. Yeah, people still think Civil War. We just talked about that. Completely non sequitur to the discussion, but theory of relativity is a reification fallacy because you cannot attribute physical properties to conceptual abstractions and a privation. It's just stupid. Yep, this is called a spell. I think this is a pretty powerful meme, honestly. I'm really proud of myself. It's like the first one I made. Oh, this is the first one. We can't burn down our own cities. It's playing to our hands, so racist. All right, anyway. Then I told you the whole ordeal that this is all orchestrated under a macro plot, right? COVID affects your lungs. It's a respiratory illness, causes breathing issues. Now they have everyone in the streets wearing masks, saying I can't breathe. And of course, we know 5G is being rolled out. There's supposed to be a second wave. This is a document from 97 from FCC.gov. At 60 gigahertz, there's a 98% oxygen absorption rate. And of course, 5G operates from 30 to about 300. Even if you say 20 to 100, 60 gigahertz is the dangerous one. See it comparable. It's not even comparable to the rest of them, right? Like it's astronomical rate of oxygen absorption. It's the oxygen self-absorbing it, making it hard, and thus basically inhibiting or prohibiting your hemoglobin from adequately absorbing the oxygen molecule. Police officer out on bail. This is probably all fake, to be honest with you. So whatever. People are going to freak out about it is the point. Walmart will stop putting multicultural products in law cases. It's literally like someone's writing a comic book or something, and they're like, how ridiculous can I make this now, right? So best apocalypse ever. But anyway, but we'll enforce one. Don't worry. We'll unlock everything, but we'll be able to enforce it because we'll just disband the police. I mean, they're just trying to set up chaos the best that they can. This will all, just in case anyone doesn't know, this will all be painted as like a complete destruction of leftist-guided cities, democratic cities, so Trump can be more cast the hero. They can shift the entire collective more so to supporting Trump. That's what this all is, just so you know. And then I just explained it to you. Yeah, destroying all the Confederacy history, banning the Confederate flag in the military, even NASCAR, so that they can pull off this metaphysical ritual in which you understand what really happened during what the Confederacy was fighting for was state sovereignty, so there wasn't federalization. Well, look, now you are destroying the people that fought for what you're about to need to fight for. It's a spell. All right. If y'all have any questions, throw it in there. You might have to tag me there. I won't see it. Lose dependency on their system. Humans were created to be incredible. We can do anything. Yeah, I agree. Focus on self-sustainability. Sorry I'm late, Austin. Just wanted to know if you were aware about George Floyd being a crisis actor along with those cops. Yeah, it's a very sketchy origin event, very convenient in which that, okay, it's normal to wear masks, and then there were riots where people had their face covered based on like what the system actually suggested to hide their face and go commit crimes, and they're wearing their mask while saying, I can't breathe. It's obviously a ritual. That alone shows you that what are the odds of this randomly happening perfectly for their rituals? It didn't. And yeah, they worked together. Then the cops came wearing, they're paramedics, but they were police officers wearing bulletproof vests. They didn't even do paramedics 101, which was to keep his neck stable, which is like the first thing you're taught. If you're going to roll him over, make sure that you support their neck. They just flop him over, looking all crazy, throw him on the gurney. If they checked his pulse and he wasn't breathing, they would have done CPR. They did not do that. And they didn't, if he was declared dead, they would have taped it off. They did none of that. They just threw a dead body up on the thing, on the gurney, and took him off in bulletproof vests. It's all very sketchy, very convenient. Doesn't seem to add up. Pretty obvious, to be honest. I only see 38 Rogans up. I don't care. But yeah, smash the Rogans up, which is the thumbs up, because Joe Rogan looks like a human thumb. And he also works for Mossad, or the CIA. Tomato. Police on license plate. Yeah, it said police on the license plate. Yeah, so, and then here's what I'm thinking. So y'all saw the thumbnail, right? So I'm thinking about doing this thing. Maybe I'll do it once a week where it's like Ostradamus, and I'll make that week's predictions, or just like I'll call more in depth how it's all going. Or I don't know. I'm thinking about trying to do a segment where I just like break down the coming psyop, like all almost scripted, but I can't script things. I like authenticity, but anyway, and just call it like Ostradamus and have the episodes. But I don't know. I haven't decided. Tell me what y'all think about that. Thinking about maybe, since I work, like maybe early in the morning I could do a stream, and then try to at night when I can. I don't really know. I'm trying to figure out the best way to consistently do it. Just leave me some feedback in the comments, not necessarily the chat, but like in the comments. Just comment when you think I should, like early in the morning. I'm Central Time, so it'll be like 7 in the morning. Yeah, it has to be like 7, 8 in the morning, 7. And or maybe I'll do the Ostradamus in the morning. I'll try to do nights. Can't be that consistent. Just tell me what y'all think. Whatever. I'll try and work everything out. But yeah, I'm gonna do more in depth. I don't know. I didn't feel very comfortable doing it, but whatever. Someone's got to do it. No one else is doing it, so I'll do it. But yeah, I told you Internet Bill of Rights was coming. It came. I'm telling you, economic infrastructure replacement's coming. It is coming. The whole media will be replaced. For all intents and purposes. How that goes about, I don't know. Do they create an illusion of forcing authenticity and, like truth within the current infrastructure of media? I don't know. Nevertheless, the current connotation and infrastructure of the media will be replaced. Stuff like that. I'll just explain it to y'all because no one else is. So whatever. I wonder what happens next. We're barely into the summer. There's no way their agenda stops here. No, it just starts. Just started. The guy looks like the cop looks like the guy from the cash cab. Yeah, but I don't know. His mugshot doesn't match the picture that's there. So it's too convenient. I don't know. I guess when you're away for a long time, you don't really have to be like, oh, is this picture photoshopped? It's like the whole world was shut down, told to wear masks, and then they have a perfect climate to go out and riot and create destruction and commit crimes while wearing masks legally. And then everyone's protesting with the mask on saying, I can't breathe. But they're not saying that because of the mask that's preventing them from breathing. If you know how the growlers operate, that was not by chance. So there you go. That's all I need to know, to be completely honest. The discrepancies are just more confirmation. And yeah, no, it's just now getting started. But Trump is going to, again, emerge as the hero. And for those with eyes to see, they're already starting to move over. Now we got Ice Cube get on Twitter making pro-Trump like QAnon posts. It is going to get more and more mainstream. And people are going to basically be left where you can't – either you have to admit Trump's way better than everyone else, but he still sucks, or you have to like Trump. Like there's no other way eventually, right? And there will be the people who are like way down here that will just die before they admit anything, but like they don't care about those people. They care about the smarter people. They're trying to trick the smarter, right-bearing people that know how to shoot an AR, Austin, never think of doing an open panel. I actually have. See, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all comment suggestions. But I thought about doing like a Discord thing once a week where people that are on here can just jump into the Discord and we'll stream it. I'll screen share and stream it. And so we can all just talk to each other on Discord. I should do that. Why not? Still see him driving around with windows up wearing a mask. It's ridiculous. Yeah, bro. It's a clown world. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I told you it was going to be short, 40 minutes. Basically, what I just wanted to let y'all know that I'm not leaving y'all hanging, right? Like I'm about to start making it frequently. I'm trying to think the best frequent, like consistent schedule with my schedule. I'm thinking it'll have to be in the morning and then squeeze in night shows when I can. And then I'll go with different. I'll have like the Ostradamus. I think the picture's so funny, even though it's like poorly photoshopped. I think it's hysterical. So yeah, Ostradamus. I try to tell you people, which doesn't matter. I mean, I'm sure a bunch of you already knew it. It just doesn't seem like enough people talk about this. Did you know George Floyd's GoFundMe account raised over 13 mil? Yeah, it's like over 14 mil now. So yeah, and what I was trying to let y'all know, just for anyone that got in here late, basically the push right now is going to be to remove the Confederate flag, to remove the Confederate statues, to demonize or even make illegal any type of advocation of the Confederacy. And it isn't because of slavery or because the system cares about some morals or anything like that nonsense. It is because the grabblers have chosen that to happen, right? And the reason is because they know the Civil War is actually fought over sovereignty of state. They orchestrated the Civil War so they could implement federalization, a monolith of power, and now they're having Americans destroy what represents sovereignty as a metaphysical act of basically coaxing your compliance to be cool with even more centralization of power, even more removal of sovereignty. That is literally what's happening. It doesn't really matter. It's so incredibly obvious. So unfortunately, I don't know if we have it in us as a country to push back against the Confederate flag thing now, because we did back in the day, which is how you know this is all crafted, predictably programmed, Trump, Charleston, Confederate flag. We pushed back, but now white people who are, a lot of these white people, race isn't real, but for all intents and purposes, all these white people, they're like scared and they're like uncomfortable and they're doing whatever they can do to try to get a pass to be like socially accepted as a white person, which is just so stupid. It's so stupid. It's like repulsive, right? But what can you do? They'll be like, yeah, whatever. I don't even wear a Confederate flag. Get rid of it. They stood up for it out of principle. Now they're just going to like cuck because they're uncomfortable. And they don't know, nor do the people pushing to get rid of the Confederate flag. They don't know the real reason that it's being removed. It is a spell. It's wizardry. So what are you going to do? You know, how many people actually don't know the Civil War wasn't fought over slavery? It literally wasn't. So that's where we live in. Anyway, yeah, I'll try and go live tomorrow, maybe tomorrow morning. I don't know. But y'all leave me a comment what y'all think. Or y'all can email me, Whitsitt at ProtonMail is the one I check the most. Or WitsitGetsIt at Gmail. So y'all just email me or leave a comment on this video when you think I should. I'm Central Time. I obviously can't appease everyone's time, so just answer relative to me, right? Like in the morning, my time. Try to continue to do it in the evening, whatever. Because I don't want to leave y'all hanging. But yeah, I'm out of here. So anyway, like I always say, seek and speak truth. And that's really not that complicated, you know, if you think about it. Like, you just have to be honest. It's actually like really simple. When you just tell the truth, that's all you do. You just constantly tell the truth. Like, you don't, if you forget something, it's no big deal. Because whenever you remember it, it's still going to be the truth, as opposed to being someone that's constantly lying, forgets something, panics, doesn't know how he lied. It's just easy. Just tell the truth and unequivocally. Don't not tell the truth because people are weak and adhere to consensus and can't handle the truth. And then I'll unplug from the box, ideological, metaphorical box. You have to stop thinking so small-minded. Stop accepting the position in which that you were labeled as this like useless, small statistic that just has to look inside of all of these little intricate details of the psyops that they flood you with. Step outside of it and see how they really operate. That's how you're able to predict things. That's how you're able to apply pattern recognition, as you see the whole puzzle. You see all the patterns. If you don't do that, if you do not rewire your brain to step out of the chaotic diversion of propaganda and see the entirety from a holistic perspective, like a macro, you'll never understand what the grabboys are about to do. But yeah, man, much more content coming. I'll let you know what they're about to do. So anyway, thanks everybody for being here. Much love. Peace.